Welcome. Welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast, where our mission is to help you heal yourself so you can heal the world. Hi, my name is Noah Crane. Each week, we will bring you tips and tools and inspire you to live your most empowered and joyful life. I'm also the founder of the 3G Effect, a daily practice to keep you in a positive attitude and positive mindset every single day by taking three important actions and practicing these three important elements. Number one, every day, make sure you have a grateful heart and you connect to your gratitude. When you're connected to your gratitude, you're connected to positive feelings and positive emotions, and therefore drawing those positive experiences into your life. Number two, every day, remember to ground in love and compassion. First, love and compassion for yourself. Learning to believe in yourself, to love yourself, to accept yourself, and to forgive yourself, right? It's so important to your own worthiness in the world, because so many of us feel like we don't deserve, and you do deserve. You are beautiful. So first do that own self-work for yourself, because when you can find it within yourself, then you're able to share it with others. And when you share it with others, that's where the ripple effect happens in the world. And we bring more love and compassion to everyone that we touch. And that's what it's all about, doing our inner work so we can create that outer world that we desire. And number three, every day, know that you are guided by God. Now, I say guided by God, but whatever it is for you, whether it's source, universe, higher power, energy, whatever you connect with is what's important, right? And I want to tell you, you are not alone on this journey. God is inside of you because God created you. He's beside you and he's all around you. So learn to open your heart and soul to the guidance of God. Take time to talk to God, to ask him for guidance. We all need guidance on the journey. Learn to thank God daily for all the miracles and all the help that you get on this journey. And learn to be a good listener, because God will send you messages and messengers in unexpected ways to help you get to the next level of you. So you just need to be open. When your heart is open, when you're doing your work here, your inside work, you will create a beautiful outside world. And that's what it's all about. When you heal yourself and you find the peace and happiness within yourself, you can be that source of peace, of happiness for everybody else that you touch. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And today we're going to be speaking about a really important subject, and that is how to bring your brand into the world, right? Because we're all unique. We all have our own unique way of doing things and being, and our own passions. And how do we bring that together and have people help us to create, what we really want to bring, our gifts to the world? My guest today, Rebecca, is a brand strategist at Inspiring Your Shine. Don't you love that? Rebecca helps businesses and entrepreneurs build a strong identity to stand out. She says that brand is much more than just a logo or a color. It's about creating a feeling that people will remember. Her mission is to help you find your purpose and unique voice to connect to your audience and leave a lasting impact in the world. Rebecca, welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast.
Hello, Noah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, it's so awesome to have you. I'm so excited. First of all, having you as a personal friend is just really special. And you are so wise, and I love the approach that you take to branding. Maybe we could start by why it's important for someone to create their own personal brand, because we do have so many people that are in network marketing. They already have the logo, they already have the brand. Why is it important to create your own unique brand?
I have a background in network marketing. I spent about 20 years of my life, in addition to other businesses, building network marketing. I got to top 2% in leadership and one for 8 years. And so I know and understand that business model really well. And I would say that that was really what got me into branding, is because as I was a team leader and I was helping people to build their businesses, I saw that people would just brand themselves to the product or to the company that they were representing. And so what happened in our case is that company closed. And so then they had to completely start over because people knew them as that at that business. And they didn't really do a great job at connecting with people in a different way. And so when they had to pivot, it was very difficult. And so that was really the catalyst of what made me want to teach people about how to do it right so that when you build your personal brand, no matter what you have to offer, that your audience will go with you because they have fallen in love with you. And there is a difference between personal branding and corporate branding. And nowadays, the way that most of the stuff is done, we see that the corporate people are coming and trying to give us ads that we didn't ask for, right? But for you, people are following you and they want to hear from you. And so they've invited you in. So they're not annoyed by you. So it's a different dynamic. And it's really the way that things are done nowadays is even the corporate brands are trying to make it more personalized and make people, to have more layers and personality to their brands.
Yeah, and why do you think it's so important to personalize ourselves? Because, you know, we are all unique, right? We know we're all unique, but how important is it to bring our uniqueness to the world in order to create our brand?
Yes, it's so important because, again, if you are doing something that's very similar, most likely to other people, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of noise. And so, the way that you stand out, the way that you draw people in and you build that audience and you get referrals is by you showcasing who you are. And you're going to attract people that really get what you're putting out there. You put it out there and they're like, yes, I agree with you, I like what you're saying, you inspire me, you motivate me. And that's how you create that tribe. And when you create the tribe, then that's when the referral income starts coming in because you are having people come to you that you never even encountered. It's other people talking about you and it gets a buzz going about you. And when you have that personal branding really strong, then it's easy for them to tell those people what you're about, what you do, because when you do branding right, it's very clear.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But what if somebody comes to you and says, Rebecca, but I have no idea about what brand is, what's my purpose, what's my gift? How do you start them off to start getting clarity around that?
Yeah. I do have a proprietary way that I go about branding people. When I come in and I work with somebody, I start out with really analyzing them and helping me to understand who they are to help them to bring out those unique things about them and then incorporate that in their brand. And so to me, it is very much the foundation of your personal brand is you. And so we're going to look and talk about what is it about you? Like what is your message to the world? What is the problems that you want to solve? What is your experience? What have you went through in life that would qualify you to help solve some of these problems that you're interested in solving? Because even if you have a product for a network marketing company, you still want to be able to talk to people from a problem based and a solution based way. And if you don't have any ability to connect to what it is, the problem that you're trying to solve, it's going to fall flat. And so it's just very important for us to be connected to what we're doing in our branding. And then we want it to be very cohesive in that when people see us show up and we're talking about these things, it makes sense and they see and feel the passion in us when we're talking about it. It's you have to have that why behind you driving you. And even more so than the way that the audience is going to connect with it when they see that passion and that drive and that love that you have and it's really literally lighting you up. The other part of it is that you want to be able to continue doing it, and when you have to do something day in and day out, you need to love it
Mhm.
and you need it to be something that's a part of you. And so that's why everything that I do really starts with helping people understand who they are, really building that self-awareness, helping draw out of them greatness that maybe they don't even see. And then we pull that stuff out and then we start to build the brand around it. I like to build unique logos and marks, things that really make an impact. I mean, you're really lucky, Noah. Before I came to you, you already had an incredible logo because you had your 3Gs. And it's
Mhm.
amazing and unique and beautiful. And it says so much because it's what you are about. It's the message that God has given you to share.
Yeah, and you really do need other people to help you because I just feel like it's very easy to get brand confusion, right? If you're putting out, it's important to stay consistent with your brand, right? Because I see so many people like putting out different things and the lack of like same colors, same logo, would that really affect their brand and how people see them?
Yeah, you can do that because you are the one that's driving your brand. So it does work. If you're identifiable, then people can still connect to you, but it might limit bringing new people in because you want to have everything really branded so that when people come new to you, they can go to your Instagram, they can go to your social medias, and they can see and feel and perceive things about what you have going on really quickly because people don't want to waste brain cells trying to figure out what it is that you're about. And so when you brand yourself with the colors that you choose, with the shapes that you choose, all of that has theory and people pick up on that subconsciously. And then of course the topics that you're talking about, having really good branded like covers on your reels and in your social media, having it so it's branded, you want them to get to know and have kind of that snapshot in their mind of a memory, something identifiable. So as they first get to know you, they might take it in a little bit. They might scroll around, check you out. But then when it comes up in your feed later on, you want them to recognize you and be like, oh, yeah, that was that girl that does this. You want them to associate you with certain things and those colors and the shapes and the style in which you show up in branding your logo mark. It's very much an identifier to help their brain to remember you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That for people to be able to identify you. So, can you take us through the process that you take people through on really bringing their brand out to the world and how you get them very clear on that?
Yes, I would love to. So again, I kind of do things a little bit differently, and I think I started out. Yeah, I'm a life coach, and then I got into the branding. I was interested in it from the time that I was a leader, and then got into life coaching after that business ended. And then as I started helping other people to build their esteem and then eventually their businesses, then I found it, as well as my own business, it was the natural progression to get to branding. So I kind of carried a lot of the things that I was doing with my clients into the branding. And so I have 7 different things that I would really love to see when I work with a client, them develop in their brand. And those 7 things are, first and foremost, is their brand power. And what that means is I want them to know and understand what they have to offer the world. We look at what their strengths are and what they're really good at. We look at what what they're already kind of doing, how they're showing up, the problem that they want to solve, and we will really take that into account. And then we look at their personality, and within personality, people have different roles. There's about 4 different roles that people play, and we want them to know and understand the role that they're trying to play because a lot of people will try to be like, I just want to be like this person who I admire, and maybe that person's an influencer, and maybe you're a worker. Or maybe that person is a worker or highly intelligent thinker, and you are an entertainer. And if you try to go about things wrong, then it's going to again fall flat. People understand and notice on a subconscious level that disconnect when somebody is pretending and not being authentic. So we take their personality, we take their powers, we look at your passions because you don't want to have a brand that is so flat. Like, for instance, a corporate brand, they really only talk about certain things. And like I told you, they've been trying to get more personalized because that's what works and that's what sells. That's why they use influencers to help them because they have the following and it passes trust. But you want to be able to bring things into your brand that aren't necessarily anything to do with the problem you're solving or the product that you have to offer. You want to make you come alive to people, to make them care, to resonate. And it's also a way to get people in the door because sometimes if we're always leading with product or service or the problem that we solve, that is very important and you need to be doing that, because if you never talk about it, then no one knows what you have to offer. But you want to bring in those little things about you, and you've seen this done. And so I can tell you, like, maybe it's something like you love your pet, or it's something with your children are just adorable or amazing and you're constantly talking about it. Maybe for you, Noah, it's you talk about your husband all the time. He's part of your brand and what you're passionate about. Traveling, or maybe it's a sport that you love or a hobby that you're in. And so when you bring in those other little pieces, it really adds a lot of depth and character. And it also is another way of a net to catch and interest people in what you might be able to help them solve, or the product that you might have to offer. And then you also, of course, branding is all about your brand presence. And your brand presence is those identifiers, those things that make you memorable. And your brand personality is also in there. And it's not just about the role that you play and making sure you're being authentic, but it's your brand personality is also about how do you make them feel. Like, you know what, when you encounter people, you are so uplifting, you are so positive, you're encouraging, you're always complimenting. It's feels so good to be around your happy and positive energy. You truly are encompassing abundance. And that shows and that shines, and people are attracted to that because you make them feel good, and then they want more of that. And then the last part of that is your brand pillars. And your brand pillars are the content that you're putting out there. So that those passions play into that, and also the problems that you solve. And then what we're here to talk about today is your brand purpose. Your brand purpose is a combination, in my opinion, the way that I look at it, your brand purpose is a combination of who you are and what you've experienced and what you're purposed here to do based on your past experiences, the pain that you've overcome, your personality, your powers, your purpose, your passions. And then we will bring them into, okay, now what problem are you solving? And where those two overlap, that is your brand purpose. Because I really believe that if you are trying to solve a problem, or you're trying to help people to do something that you don't have a purpose in, that your why is not there. And as a lot of people know and understand, the Simon Sinek's Start With Why, it was a TED Talk, then you would know that you have to have that strong why. If you don't have the strong why, you will not have the energy behind bringing your mission and getting your brand out there. And so that is where the brand purpose plays in, and it's really a very essential part.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is that you need to know your why, and you were talking about being able to solve people's pain points. What are some pain points that we can solve for people, that brands solve for people? Would you say?
Yeah. I mean, like, that obviously is very unique to the person and what they have. If they have certain kind of products, then, the problem that people do a lot, I mean, it's just the disconnect is that they might have a product or even a service that solves a problem, but what they want to talk about is the what. They want to talk about what's in the product, or what the product does, or what the service is, or this is what I have to offer. And they talk about the what all the time. Well, people don't really want to know about the what so much, because that is what they get from you through either using that product, or it's what they will get through going through a process with somebody who's offering a service. What they want to know is, first of all, you have to capture them with the why. Why? Why is it even valid for them? Why does it even matter to them? Why? So in the why, you do bring up the pain points, because that gets their attention. And then they do want to know the how. How is it going to make a difference in my life? How is solving this problem, or me using this product, me working with you, how is it going to transform my life different than, you know, the other people out there, the competitors? And that is where you have to come up with what's called a value proposition, where you have to showcase your unique offer and why what you do and how you do it is, and why you do it is better than your competitors.
Yes, definitely. So in order to get more clear about how can you, like, when somebody comes to you and they have like a brand confusion, you take them through those different steps to see how they can get more clarity in those areas?
Yes, and the thing is that a lot of times the things that people are doing, there's usually some kind of a fine line that connects them.
Mm.
And so I'm really good at finding the connectedness between things. And so when I'm talking to them, usually in just one conversation, I can help them to identify, well, what I'm seeing here is this. And I show them that fine line, that connection point, like where it is that they, really are trying to get to, but they're doing it all these disconnected ways. And the thing is, when it comes to branding and our messaging toward people, we really got to take a stand on like one thing. And like I would really say, if I had to put it right now, and our thing can change as we grow, we don't have to stay with the one exact thing forever. The iteration of it might change or transform over time. We never end where we started. So we have to give ourselves a little bit of flexibility, but there's a difference between, okay, now I have really done this and I've done it well and I've created all these products, or I've represented these things. And maybe it's that you start out as a network marketer that's just doing the products, and now you're going to build a team. You're going to a different level, or you have created a service and you've done things and it's like, okay, now I'm ready to do something else. And so that can transform it. It's almost like it grows, like the vision becomes bigger, but the thing doesn't completely shift and change, because you want to be able to stand and say, this is what I stand for. So I can say that through everything that I've done, what I stand for is authenticity. I believe that you are supposed to be your authentic self, who God created you to be, and that it's the enemy's job to keep you from becoming who you're supposed to be. And so we have to get really self aware and really fight through any self doubt to become who we're supposed to be. And then what I do is I help people to then take what they're supposed to do in this world and turn it into a tangible product through like a course or a podcast or something that is really out there serving the world.
Yeah, and you've helped me so much, Rebecca, right? With my colors, with my graphics, with creating material and content that I need for my stuff. So I think to have somebody that kind of helps take you through it, and keep you on track, because it's easy, like you said, to get distracted. And
Mhm.
to sometimes I feel like I did at some points have brand confusion, and you had really brought me back to like, hey, this is your colors, this is your scheme. Like I would also, incorporate the wrong colors in, and the wrong. How important is colors? I know you said it's not the most important thing, but how important are your colors in your brand? What do they show about who you are?
Yeah, color has theory. And so when you have certain colors, people will pick up on what it is that you are trying. It can, what would you say? It can clarify the message that you're trying to give. Now, for you, green is one of your colors,
Yeah.
a couple of different shades of green, but right now I know you're doing a lot of the deep green, but you've also had the green, the grass is greenest where I am was your book. And so you had the green, and that made sense. It was identifiable, but it also makes sense for you because, like, just like how you love to go to the Murakami Gardens, and a lot of your photos that you take are with those beautiful gardens and trees and growth behind you, because you're very much about growth and transformation. You're always growing and transforming yourself. And you're about abundance. And what's more abundant than, nature?
Mm-hmm.
And it's ease and flow. It just goes, and there's not a whole lot that it needs to survive. And so when we are in flow and we're in nature, and so when you have those pictures and when you use those green colors, you are reinforcing your message. And then of course you have your G in your logo that really narrows it down and makes it super identifiable. But And then you did that with the gold because it's like this precious gift that's from God that are bringing to the world. So I think everything that you've done there is really amazing.
Well, you've helped me definitely get there. So I wanted to ask you, as far as like you being authentic, we were talking a little bit about authenticity. How important is that to your brand success?
Yeah, it is vital.
Mhm.
And so even when I coach, and if I were to try to coach with somebody, let's just say, because I did used to coach a lot of network marketers, if I was trying to coach a network marketer that all they really cared about is being a sales rep for that company, and they didn't really care about showcasing who they are, or they didn't really have a big purpose in it and wanting to make an impact in others' lives, they really just were doing it because it made money and they liked it, it would be really hard for me to work with those people, because I really want to work with people who really have a big mission in this world, who want to change lives and make an impact. And in order to do that, you have to show a lot of authenticity because it takes a lot of trust building. And we all have been duped by people online that they seem like they're just so nice and warm and friendly and they're funny and all these things. And then you meet them in person, maybe at a conference or something, and it is such a letdown because when you meet them in person, they're not who they portray to be. And they are really just good at selling and creating this way of being that isn't real. It's not authentic to who they are. And that is to me, the most disgusting thing. Um, it's very disappointing. And I pride myself in, I am who I am. If you are with me in person or I'm online, I show up the same all the time. And you know what? Being authentic is easy. It's so easy. And a lot of times people hide and they don't really show who they are because they think that whatever they would have to offer isn't enough. And it is.
Yeah, I do. I think authenticity is so important as well, and I think people feel that. People are smart, They feel when you're not authentic or you are authentic. How do you reach your audience as a brand? So once you have your brand, how do you reach the right audience? That always seems to be like something that brands deal with. Like, how do you know do you work with people on that as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that it's in the brand plan. It's all about what is that plan of how you're going to go about things. What are your offerings?
Mhm.
And so, that would be, maybe it's a podcast, and maybe it's all of those things, but you have to start with one and get that going, and then you add something else. And so maybe it's a podcast, maybe it is a program that you can offer and get people in. And so you have to have like what it is that you're going to offer, because the mistake that a lot of people make is they either build an audience and don't have any offers, or sometimes they build offers and they don't have an audience. And so, of course, the way that you do that is you have to build your brand awareness. And the way to build your brand awareness is to, of course, show up on social media. And I want you guys to know that when it comes to doing your social media, you pick one platform that's your main platform. And then anything you create for that platform, you just repurpose correctly on the other platform. And of course, video does really well, short form video. But if you make a short form video, you can put it on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and YouTube. So you can make one piece of content and stretch it so far to allow yourself a chance to get yourself out there. You definitely want to be talking about things that people are interested in, and the people that you are solving problems for, the people that are going to connect with you will be drawn in. And maybe somebody else sees it, but because you're being so clear about what you're offering, then they might share it with a friend. And so when you have saves and shares on your social media, you know that you're doing it right. And you're not just making it all about you, and you are portraying what it is that you have to offer clearly, and the messaging of what it is, of what they need to do and what you have to offer is clear, then they'll take action. And so it really does take some time. You can't just do it overnight, because first we have to get really clear on who we are and what we have to offer. And even if you just start with one thing, so let's just use you as an example, Noah. You started and you knew that you wanted to talk about abundance, and you wrote your book and you stood on that for a while, and you talked about it, and then you moved on from that, and you were like, okay, now I a lot of the same content that's in your book, you then wanted to put through this message of the 3G effect. And then you started talking about the 3G effect. And so then people that know, anybody who has come into your world, they know and understand that you are about the 3G effect. They know that you're about having a grateful heart, that you are about growing in love and compassion and being guided by God. You have ground that into them. You talk about it all the time. You show your beautiful jewelry. And so, you're a really good example of how you start getting people to know and understand what you have to offer. But then after we are showing up regularly and consistently, clearly on social media with our branded stuff to make us memorable and identifiable, then it really is about trying to create content that people will share and save. And then that will get to the next level. And then we have things like you can do ads. Once you're really clear and you've had content that you've been putting out there, then you take whatever it is that's hitting and you're like, oh wow, people really resonated with this. Okay, well, since they resonated with it, I'm going to put a little ad, $5 a day behind it, and then you can start trying to get more people. And there's something that you can do in that strategy that's called the lookalike audience. And it's going to say, okay, these people are really resonating with this. So let's look at our profiles on the social medias. They track everything. And then they will send it to other people that seem like they fit that same thing. So, once we get to the ad strategy, you could do events, but those are what the problem that people do, what they do wrong is they try to go into phase 4, like ads, like hosting a big event, or you know I'm trying to think of what else it might be, but they try to go into like a phase 4 activity when their brand is still, they don't even know who they are. They're not clear. So you have to get clear. Then you have to start showing up consistently and get your message out. And then you have to create an offer that you get people plugged into and start making a difference, getting testimonies. And then you then leverage the social media that's doing well, the testimonies, and you put ads or something behind it. And then that's how you can expand outside of your current market. So it's a little complicated, but it's simple, but it takes time and patience and consistency, and you have to be committed. And that's the thing that most people quit before their fruit is there. And normally we quit right before the fruit starts to come.
Yeah, we get in our own way, right?
Oh,
So,
for sure.
how,
And I've done it. I've done it.
we've all done it. And so, how important is it when you're on social media, when you're sharing yourself, to be vulnerable? Like, do people more connect more to people that are more vulnerable?
Yeah, and I mean, you have to be careful
Mhm.
in that because you don't want to always be talking about what you're struggling with and not really making it seem like you're an expert or a thought leader in what you do, because there has to be a balance. Now, I do think that it is it's very powerful to be vulnerable, and that is what gets you in somebody else's heart, because then that's when you're really being authentic.
Mhm.
And so when you can be vulnerable and you can talk about those pains that made you choose to do what you're now doing, and you talk about why you do what you do, then that will really sink into people's hearts and hook them. And so they'll just fall in love with you. There's something about tears. And I can tell you so many people that I know, and it even happened to me. When people see tears, they stop and they want to know what's going on with you. And so I'm not saying manufactured tears, but sometimes when you're talking about, things where you're really being real and raw, then it's very connecting with people, and they will remember you too. And it also makes people want to be uplifting. Now, again, we don't want to use that as a tool to like manipulate or overdo it, but there's definitely a way of doing that. One of the brands that I worked with and helped build it, she started sharing her story, and she had a ferocious things that had happened to her. She had been And she talked openly about this, still does, but she was abused as a child sexually. She was gang raped in college. Um, and then she had a baby. She was married and the baby died at 9 weeks old. So she, a SIDS baby, and then she was an alcoholic and really had to recover from that. So she had all of these different things that she went through and overcame. And so when she would talk about those things and talk about the healing process, then people listened because it was like she was qualified based on what she had been through for her to even be on the other side, smiling, sober, uplifting other people. It was like, wow, I do need to know what you know because you've obviously been through some stuff. And so for sure, sharing a little bit of vulnerability. You know what people don't like? And I know people like this. And they can be so incredible and they show up and they're always perfect and they're always smiling and everything's always amazing and there's never any trials. And it's just like they just have the Midas touch and life just is always good for them. When they come off always like that, sometimes that could be repelling because people don't relate to that because they know what their life looks like. And we're moving into a different kind of season in social media. And it used to be that it was like this, manufactured Pinterest lifestyle, like everything's perfect, everything's beautiful. I'm always on vacation, I'm always rich, and my relationship is perfect. And we are coming off of that. And now people are craving real, authentic, raw things. So even like super produced things, a lot of times don't do as well as just like literally somebody holding their camera and talking to it. Even on TikTok, that's changed. So it's, guys, we got to just be really vulnerable, allow ourselves to be seen. And I used to tell my daughter something of like, let the world feel the weight of who you are. And who we are is that we have had trials and things that have built our character and helped us to become who we are. And so that's one little tip though. Don't talk about things that you're still right in the middle of it and you're just sobbing, crying. It hurts so much. You're a mess. Wait until you've kind of got through it a little bit to talk about things.
That makes sense. And I also like when you say when you're on social media, you should show different facets of you. So, like, not just one thing all the time, right? Like, if you love animals, if things that make you happy, right? Like nature, whatever it is, like, kind of mix in so people get to know you more all around rather than just seeing like just you trying to sell them or trying to bring a product to their life.
Yes, they're going to be a lot more receptive to that product or service or offering when you have shown them a little bit about you and made you human to them and made them care about you, other than them always feeling like they're going to be sold. So we all have those people in our life where all they do is live and breathe what they have to offer. And you know that every conversation, whether they're commenting on your post or jumping in your DMs or even calling you on the phone or you see them in the scrolling, you're like, I don't even have any interest in what it is that they have to say because I know that all they care about is getting me to buy something and they want something from me. And so we have to recognize that we need to get to a place where we are caring more about serving than selling. The money will come, your abundance and your reward will always come when you serve.
Yeah, I think service is so important, because nobody's going to pay us for not serving, right? We're not going to make money just by wishing for it or, praying for it. It's going to come when we actually do the work, when we get outside of our comfort zone and get out into the world and play, right? And find people to help us, bring our passion and our purpose into the world. And I think it is really important to find the right people because, it's an elimination thing. The more we do our own self work and we're open to to the kind of guidance that other have to have, because we can't be good at everything. I have my strengths, and then I need other people's strengths to be able to help me get to the next level of who I am. And I'm so happy that you're there helping people figure out their brand and bring their brand to the world. And I love your inspire your shine. Where did that come from? Because I really love that.
Thank you. That came when I was still in the jewelry business, and I didn't know that it was going to be shutting down really soon. This probably happened about 6 months prior, maybe even a year, up to a year before I started really thinking about like what's next for me. And I knew that I really loved training and inspiring people, and so I literally started making these little pictures with like an outfit and a piece of jewelry and a quote, like an inspirational quote, and then I would like write something inspirational in the post. And that was kind of where it first started. I started doing that. And then when I was like, I really kind of want to brand myself, I kind of recognized like that I didn't want to just be the jewelry girl or the company I was with was Leah Sophia Jewelry. And so I didn't want to just be known as that. I wanted to have my own thing. And so I started looking, I was still repping for that company that was jewelry. And so I wanted something that kind of bridged between what that inspiring that I wanted to be doing and the jewelry. And it kind of, I did a process, which I can help people do if they need to find a name. And I just looked at a lot of different words and I started putting things together and I found it. And it totally works for me because talking about branding, my branding for Inspiring Your Shine is all about sunshine. For me, the sun is like a representation of God present with us at all times. He's always there as, the sun is so vital to us. And so it's like this imagery to me of God. And I also love sunshine. And so then my brand colors, have yellows and oranges and like sun type colors. And so it all just came together. Like I really feel like when you start seeking it, you will find it and it will just come to you, just like your 3G came to you.
No, that's really cool. And every time when you send me like an email or something, it says "keep shining." So I always love to get that because it just feels really good when somebody tells you "keep shining." So I love what you do, Rebecca. It's really, really cool. So I wanted to ask you, so how can people connect with you in the world? How can they reach out for you? What are some things that you can help them do once they connect with you?
Yeah. Well, I have a website, inspiringyourshine.com, and you can go there for a start. What you'll find that I can help people to do is I can help you first and foremost is to help you to get really clear on your own identity. And if you already have that, great. Let's move into the branding and let's try to figure out how can we translate that into visuals and brand pillars and what products can we create, what services would we want to offer based on who you are, and then we just start building things out. So I can help. It really depends on the person because maybe what it is for them is that they want to be a speaker on the stage, and then that way I can help them to do like a media kit and help direct them where they would go about doing that. Or maybe they would want to start with a podcast. I can help people get started on a podcast. Or I can help people develop a course, a program. That's actually my favorite thing to do is helping people to develop like a program, to put your knowledge and what you do and your process into like a theme and its own packaged, beautiful thing is really fun for me. So and then I do coaching, and I coach people through those processes.
Can you tell us more about your online courses that you help people create? Because they are really special. And I love the process you take us through.
Yeah, yeah, it is like so fun for me. And so for me, it's a lot like, if I were going to put on an event or I wanted to bring a costume to life and, the little details. And so I really would start with a phone call and I just collect all of this data from them and what they're doing, how they're doing it, what their processes are. And what I find a lot of times is everyone, when they first kind of start, they've just kind of collected things and they're doing things but they haven't made it like a proprietary process for themselves yet. And in order for you to really stand out, you can't sound like everyone else. You can't just take other people's material and always be quoting like this is like this person and this person and this person because you're always then edifying them. You want people to know and understand that you're a thought leader. And the way that you do that is you take these processes. They might, there's nothing new under the sun. And so many things are similar, they overlap. It might feel a lot like this person, but when you make it your own. So that's really what I do. I collect all the data and then I start thinking about, okay, what is it that the problems that they want to solve? What's their, I was talking earlier about you got to kind of like stake your mountain. Like, this is where I'm putting my flag in this heel here. And I'm saying that this is what I do. This is my mission. And so we want to make sure that that comes out in their course, and it's aligned with who they are. And then I'm going to set everything up in a way that it's going to work for people, and sometimes it takes a little bit of tweaking, because not everybody is meant to be a teacher. That may not be their gifting. So we can still do a course and it can still teach things, but maybe the coaching or the other stuff is different. Maybe it's more like a support group. And I've just helped you to put the content together to give context, based on what they would need to know to heal. For instance, when I wrote the thing for the girl for the healing, I did a lot of the work and helped her to create that stuff. But it was based on her journey. And then I helped to put it to catch people up to where she was. Like, what was the process that you went through? And we got them all in there. And then what she did is she ran like a support group for it. And then we had a workbook. And so it's really cool. It's really individualized, to the person. And I pride myself in being able to do that, because I just love people, and everyone has something so original and amazing to offer the world. And so that's why I'm inspiring your shine, because it's your shine. And I get to help you to bring that out.
And you're even wearing the yellow, so it's you glow with that. So I could just totally see. And you've helped me so much. So I really recommend people get in touch with you and get the support they need, because I feel like there's a lot of brand confusion out there. And the more clarity you have, and the more you can show people and align them with who they are and what you're bringing to them, I think the easier it is for other people. You don't want to cause confusion, right? Because if they're confused about you and your brand, they're not going to buy, right? They say confused customer doesn't buy.
No, they do not. Or they refund because maybe they thought they were getting one thing and then they got another. And so I think that, again, this all starts with you. When you have the clarity, then you're going to be able to pass on that clarity. When you are being authentic, then it's never going to change, because you've started with authenticity, and it's not you being fake or talking people into it. And I think most people probably listening, they could, identify that they may be invested in something or worked with somebody that they thought it was going to be so different, so much better. What they were going to get was going to be bigger than it ended up being. And of course, we have our responsibility in that. We have to get out of things what we put into it. But I think there's a lot of people out there like that trick you. And we don't want to be one of those people.
Yeah, and sometimes, when those things happen, they're just here to just teach you something. And I say that no lesson is too expensive, if you
Mhm.
learn something from it. So the thing is, even when we do get duped, if we take that as an experience that can help us make better decisions in the future, I think that works as well.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You're so wise. That is so true. That is absolutely so true. And if you keep having something similar happening in your life over and over and over, you are in a cycle. And that means that you are working out of like wounds, and you're habitually making choices based on an unhealthy way of being. And so that is where the healing comes in. And we need to heal ourselves so we can heal the world. It has to start with us.
How important is it, Rebecca, to leave a legacy on the world?
Oh my goodness. Well, I feel like not everybody, like you and I, we are people that we've always known and felt like that was what we were supposed to do. So people play different roles. And so not everybody feels that way, but maybe their impact is not in the world, but it's in their family, and they leave like this incredible legacy for their family. And so again, it's about, we all have different roles to play, and when we fulfill those roles, then it makes the world go round. And so that's why it's so important for every one of us to be doing what we were purposed to do in our time here.
Yeah, and I feel like the legacy you live in your family is the most important legacy, because that heals the world, right? Every time you live in legacy on your children, they get to pass that on to their children. So it's that's the that that effect, that ripple effect, right? That boomerang, whatever you want to call it, that we want to continue in the world. So that's why it's so important to continue doing our work here. And we were talking about the brand, and like the brand will transform. You will transform as you grow and become more the person you're meant to be. So don't be too attached, because things change and you'll grow through the experiences. And when you have great people like Rebecca on your side, you can't go wrong, because she will help guide you towards your passion and your purpose. And she can help you create those online courses, the things that you really need, those, the graphics you need, the logo you need, the colors you need to really make yourself unique and really stand out in the world. And I think that's such an important thing that you do, Rebecca, for others, because we need that guidance, and I needed that guidance. And so I'm so excited to share that with our audience as well.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's all about authentic expression. That's what a brand is. It's your authentic expression to the world. And so, yeah, don't pigeonhole yourself in like I have to choose this and it's going to be, people take it so seriously sometimes, where it's like if I choose this or I launch this program, it's like I have to do this for the rest of my life. That's not true. We're always growing, we're always changing. Let's just start somewhere. Let's just get clear somewhere so we can build on that.
Yep, it's the first step. It's the first step to getting yourself out there, and then there'll be another step and another step. And that's what's so cool, and that everything just helps you become who you are, and not taking action is the only mistake you'll ever make. The only
Yes.
mistake you'll ever make is sitting on the sideline and taking no action. Well, Rebecca, it's been so awesome to have you with me. So tell our audience again where they can find you.
Inspiringyourshine.com is a great place. And I'm also Inspiring Your Shine on Instagram and Facebook.
I love that. Thank you, Rebecca, so much. I think that, hopefully people will learn from this podcast and also get in touch with you if they need the support, because I highly recommend Rebecca, and I still work with Rebecca. So you can't go wrong. I stamp of approval. She will help you get your brand out there. So
Thank
thank you,
you.
Rebecca, so much for being my
Thank,
guest today.
thank you so much. It's amazing.
Thank you. Um, I want to thank you all for joining us today at the World Healing Tour podcast. Till next time, please remember to have a grateful heart, to ground in love and compassion, and to know every day that you are guided by God. Keeping present to the miracles every day that you experience. Have a beautiful week, everyone. Namaste.